Hey guys, CryptoDad here again, and ever since the Coldcard security issue came to light, I've been getting the same types of questions over and over again. CryptoDad, do I need to use dice rolls to generate my seed phrase? Do I need to add a passphrase? Can I even trust the true random number generators in my hardware device? People are telling me they can't be trusted because they're closed source. Can I even trust a random number generator anymore? And honestly, I'm starting to worry. Not because I think hardware wallets have suddenly become unsafe. I'm worried because this incident and the reaction to it is going to cause more people to lose cryptocurrency than the Coldcard issue itself. The Coldcard incident involved a serious firmware bug that caused the device to bypass its built-in TRNG, or True Random Number Generator. It was a real bug with real consequences. But here's what I don't want people to take away from this story. I don't want people concluding that true random number generators can't be trusted, because that's simply not the lesson here. Modern hardware wallets were designed specifically to generate random cryptographic keys. That's one of the primary reasons that they exist. The dedicated hardware inside these devices generates entropy that is specifically intended for cryptography. This isn't some experimental technology. Cryptographic random number generators have been used throughout the technology industry for years. They're used in secure communications, banking systems, authentication systems, smart cards, encryption systems, government applications, and of course, hardware wallets. Lately, I've seen a growing number of people on Reddit and in my comments telling people that TRNGs are closed source and you can't trust them. I think that's the wrong lesson to take from the Coldcard incident. First of all, the Coldcard incident was not a case of its true random number generator failing to generate a strong enough key. It was that the firmware bug caused the device to bypass the hardware-based TRNG and fall back on a very weak software random number generator. Secondly, closed-source secure hardware is not trusted simply because a manufacturer says, "Trust me, bro." These components go through extremely rigorous independent testing and certification. Germany's Federal Office for Information Security, the BSI, has developed standards known as AIS-20 and AIS-31. They are specifically designed to evaluate random number generators in cryptographic systems. AIS-20 deals specifically with deterministic random number generators, and AIS-31 addresses physical random number generators such as TRNGs, what we're talking about here. These standards examine whether random number generators meet specific security requirements for use in cryptography. They've been part of the German Common Criteria certification environment for decades. And then you have the Common Criteria security evaluations themselves. Secure element chips used throughout the technology industry, including chips found in hardware wallets, payment cards, passports, phones, key cards, and other high security devices, can be evaluated to levels such as EAL5 and EAL6. These certifications involve independent laboratories evaluating the design, implementation, testing, and resistance to sophisticated attacks. So when someone says it's closed source, we can't trust it, that's an oversimplification. Open source is valuable. I'm not arguing against open source. But open source does not guarantee that somebody will find every bug. The Coldcard firmware was open source, and this bug went undetected for years. At the same time, closed-source devices are not operating in some untested black hole. Many of them are built for industries that have been securing financial transactions, identity documents, and cryptographic secrets for decades. and they undergo a very demanding independent certification process. Neither open source or closed source gives you a magic guarantee. What matters is good engineering, independent testing, certification, ongoing security review, and how manufacturers respond when problems are discovered. Now, let's talk about dice rolls. Can you generate entropy with dice rolls? Absolutely. If you're an advanced user who knows exactly what's going on, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think this is appropriate advice for beginners. Hardware wallets were designed to do this job for you. You're replacing a carefully designed cryptographic process with a manual one performed by a human. And human beings can make mistakes. Rolling dice to create enough entropy can be extremely tedious. You have to record everything accurately. You have to follow the procedure correctly. And if you make a mistake along the way, you've potentially introduced a source of error into a process that hardware wallets were designed to handle for you. The same thing goes for passphrases. I like passphrases. I use passphrases. I've made videos about them. They're an excellent security feature when you understand exactly why you're using one. But they're an advanced feature. They're not something everyone needs. And they're certainly not something you should run out and add because you got scared from something you read on Reddit. A passphrase creates an entirely new wallet. Lose it, and no one can recover it. Not Ledger, not Trezor, not me, not anybody. So before you run out and try to add an additional layer of security, ask yourself one question. Am I reducing the risk, or am I simply moving the risk from a hardware wallet specifically designed to do this over to myself? Because that's often what happens. I've been helping people with hardware wallets for almost 10 years, and I can tell you what I've seen. I've seen people lose seed phrases. I've seen them write them down incorrectly. I've seen people forget their passphrase. I've seen people forget whether they even use the passphrase or not. I've seen people use elaborate security systems that made perfect sense to them when they made them up, and then 3 years later, they couldn't remember how they worked. I've helped far more people recover from human error than I've ever seen affected by the failure of a modern hardware wallet. That's why I always say complexity is the enemy of security. For the overwhelming majority of people, the safest approach is the simplest. Buy a reputable hardware wallet. Initialize it normally. Let the hardware wallet generate your seed phrase. Write it down carefully. Verify it. Store it safely. Keep your firmware up to date. Learn how your wallet works. And practice recovering it before you actually have to. That's exactly what these devices were designed to do. The Coldcard incident was serious. We should absolutely learn from it. Manufacturers should learn from it. Security researchers should learn from it. But the lesson should not be that now every beginner should become a cryptographer. And it certainly shouldn't be that every TRNG and closed source secure element chip should be viewed with suspicion. The lesson is that software requires continuous testing. Hardware requires rigorous evaluation. Firmware requires continuous improvement. Manufacturers need to respond quickly and transparently when problems are discovered. And users should avoid making their security setup so complicated that they become the weakest link. If you're an advanced user and you understand dice-generated entropy, passphrases, multisig, and other advanced techniques, that's fine. But don't add complexity simply because someone on the internet frightened you into believing that adding complexity makes your device more secure. Many of the people that contact me about this have already got hardware wallets set up, and now they're saying they want to abandon their seed phrase and generate a new one with dice rolls and add a passphrase. That's much more complicated than they really need to make things. It's very complex to try to take an existing configuration and then generate a brand new seed phrase transfer your assets from the old configuration to the new configuration, and then add a passphrase on top of all that, you're just going to make a mistake and end up losing crypto. I've seen it happen before. People that get all caught up in this "I have to be super secure" obsession end up losing crypto and then blaming the device or the company rather than themselves. For most people, the best hardware wallet is not the one with the most complicated setup. It's the one that you can understand, maintain, back up, and use correctly every single time. If you have any questions about anything I said, please throw them up in the comments and I'll do my best to get them answered. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.